Okay. Aloha, everyone. Today I have a really special guest. Her name is Kaelin Ball, and she is Pave the Change. I'm excited to hear about all of that, Kaelin. And what I'd like you to do is to get started. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself? What inspires you, and what's your passion behind all that you do? I love it. I love it. That motto, pave the change. I love it. And I know sometimes paving the change comes with paving over bumps and big holes and having to go around and through and whatnots. And, Kaylin, this is where I'd like you to share why you do what you do and how can we support you? I am so excited to hear a little bit more of, you talked about bullying, you talked about uplifting yourself and your ability to, think differently, speak differently, add those power words that you just shared with us. Tell me a little bit about how, if you were to work with one of our listeners out there, what would that look like? I love it. Kaylin, I'm going to ask you to touch the space bar when you share. We caught that, and I just want to make sure that I can hear every word that you're saying, because your sharing has been so eye-opening, especially because you know you have such a positive outlook on life. How did you get that so positive?
Honestly, it hasn't always been that way, right? In high school, I felt really lonely. I had self-esteem issues in college and we just have to take that time to kind of really do the work and do the healing. So whether that's affirmations, whether that's reading about trauma, whether that's, you know, just finding someone that you can have a safe space with. But I've been the advocate for my condition since I was born. So I really didn't have a choice on being happy about being different or, having that beauty. I worked with a friend who runs a nonprofit called Positive Exposure, and his foundation is equally amazing, and kind of helped set me on this path as well. So, yeah, the more the merrier. Let's stop fighting each other for space or donations, and let's really kind of figure out what we can do to help.
Amazing. I noticed that you do many things in life. What's that one thing that you enjoy that you'd like to share with our audience?
I think the one thing that I really enjoy in life is just talking with people, right? And proving like I'm just a person. I'm currently working at a grocery store. So, there are kids that are, getting their groceries for the week with their parents and they say things. But I try to turn it into a positive. Yeah, I have a birthmark, just like you have brown hair or blue eyes, or, my lip is overgrown because of genetics that we don't understand. But that doesn't mean that you don't have something different genetically that I don't. So I think it's just a matter of like being open. I shock the heck out of people in my grocery line. Sometimes they're like, I can't believe she just said that. I'm like, yeah, because I'm human. I'm gonna say weird things. But you say really weird things too with your best friend and your family when you think no one's looking. So I think it's just bringing joy into people no matter what that looks like.
I tell you, it's very infectious here, watching and listening to you, Kaylin, that joy, that happiness that I can feel. And I know you said that it wasn't always that way. And would you be willing to share with our listeners, when you were at that point where it wasn't always that way, what did you do to bring you out of it? Would you share that with us?
Yeah, I mean, I think, one of the things that really helped when I wasn't feeling so great is to find people that were similar to me. So the condition that I have several friends who have the same condition. So we can go and talk about it, right? You had that safe space where you knew that somebody else knew what was going on. And again, that can be so many things now. We have YouTube. We used to have TikTok, you have Instagram, we have Zoom, we have all of these things now to let us be that much closer. But the best thing still is in person, where you can hug that person and really hear their laughter and lift them up too. Yeah, I mean, honestly, for me, I would just love um to help, you love you. So whether that is, sending personal affirmations, sending you links to the videos that I'm posting, if you want to hire me for public speaking or, to have that conversation, I would absolutely love to do that because it's just one person, one face, one video at a time. And again, you never know what's possible.
So amazing. if you could, not if, when our listeners are out there looking for who you are and what you stand for, where could they find you?
So I do have like a temporary website right now. It's pavethechange.com. Yeah, but again, and like I said, I have YouTube, so that's Pave the Soul Change. Because again, it's more affirmations, it's more helping you from within. I'm still trying to work on doing some more like promotional videos and that sort of thing. And then so those are the two big ones, but I do have a Facebook page. You can, connect with me on LinkedIn, but definitely pavethechange.com would be the best avenue.
Wow, you had me at Pave the Soul, lady.
Well, I'm glad.
There's a theme here, paving. What
Mhm.
does that
Absolutely.
mean to you?
Again, it's not just doing the hard stuff, right? It's not just digging in and rooting around and like um taking a layer of the skin off. So when I do treatment for my birthmark, it's not taking a layer off like a derm abrasion is. You have to go through layers on layers on layers in the blood vessels. And that's really what it's about is, like when someone paves the road and you do that construction within your state or county or whatever, they have to literally ground everything out and take out all the hard stuff before they put the new layer on. And so that's really what it's about is let's get together to figure out how we can get through the roots that have caused the pain, the shame, the trauma, so that we can build that strong foundation and get you to where you want to go with smooth sailing.
I just love it. When, if you had an opportunity, not if, when, and this is the when, you
Mhm.
had, you have an opportunity, what could you tell our listeners that you really want? What do you really want?
I just really want us to be more open about, seeing people like myself with disabilities, whether they're in wheelchairs, whether they're autistic, to have that compassion and that love and say, hey, you know what? I see that light in you. And, even though this is really challenging for the parent, the caregiver, the patient themselves, to be open and say, hey, is there anything that I can do to help you? Because again, I would love to talk with more people, who are going through that. Let's figure out what we can do to teach our schools. This is how we can get, PDQ resources, or this is how we can reduce the stigma at an early age. Because a lot of people trap emotions and trauma in their body. That's why weight is such a big thing, right? Some of that's genetic, yeah, but some of that is just not processing the trauma and not living your best life sooner. So let's figure out how we can do that and love each other.
So how can we, it looks like you would love to be on more stages.
Absolutely.
Tell me a little bit more about that.
Again, I think, it's not even necessarily like being like the next Tony Robbins, or Joe Dispenza or anything like that. It's about, talking with, parents and schools and hospitals and saying, all right, let's figure out what we can do. I've done a keynote speakership with another rare disease, for them. So they know that I know the journey and I know what it's like. And let's figure out how we can all be on that road and pave that path together.
I love it. I love it. Well, you're in the right place, in the right space with the right people this weekend, Kaylin, because we've got over what, 400 people next door.
Mhm.
Oh,
Oh,
and
and
I,
I just happened to see it. I just happened to see the, conference online through, like social media. And I was just like, you know what? I haven't been around people in a really long time. And this was one of the best choices I ever made. So, even just being able to use my voice and learn from other people. I think that is, one of those things that can be really healing for us too, is to just take that leap of faith and get through the fear. So I'm so thankful y'all are hosting this.
Well, I am so glad that you actually did take the time to come to Achieve. And we're going to have another conversation with you because I'd love to explore how I can also serve. All right.
Yes.
And so what we're going to do is, for now, we're going to say goodbye to our listeners. But I want you to lean in because this woman, Kaelin Ball, she has really uplifted the talk for me today. And I want you to know this because she was the epitome of this. Kaylin, you used your voice, your story, and for me, your impact and influence. And I would love to do whatever I can to support you because more people should hear your story.
Thank
Because
you.
that's right. For me, you truly are leveraging up those out in the world. So keep on doing it, okay?
Thank you. I will. I appreciate it. Thank you out there for everyone watching and taking the time as well.
Amazing. Aloha, everyone. Have an amazing day.